Hey folks, Elaine Marolakos Edelson here with Astrology Mojo. I want to help you get your mojo back. Today we're going to be talking about Mars through the signs. If you know your chart, then you'll know that you have the planet Mars in a particular sign. So if you're new to me, please understand that when I say the planet, I mean it. We live in a cooperation with the cosmos, so that when the planets make a move, we feel it. We feel everything. Everything is an influence, but the planets don't control us. So we make the ultimate choice of what we want to do, how we want to do it, and when. So there it is. Okay, so we are going to be, let me just get this up here so you can see. Where is my sharing my screen? There it is. Okay, so go over here. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we're looking at the planet Mars through each of the signs, and just a little bit about Mars. Mars represents a lot of things, mainly motivation and momentum. It's how you act. Now, Mars can also represent metalworking, weapons, cars, auto mechanics, being passionate sexually, energetically, being assertive, being passive aggressive, being competitive. It's all about your bravery and your courage. And it can range from motivational to maniacal. It's all about the action that is taken. So when Mars is in a different sign, astrological sign, from, as you can see here, from Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn. That's a very strange looking glyph for Capricorn. Aquarius and Pisces. There is a different form of expression, of momentum, of motivation. So that's what I want to cover today. And I'm going to group them by elements, which means all the fire signs, the earth signs, the air signs, and the water signs. Okay, so let's get underway. So let's go with fire signs. And then we're going to talk, before we actually, you know what? Oh, wait, it's on my notes. On June 8th of 2024, if you're watching this in a replay, you may already be in it, through July 20th of 2024, Mars, which is now in Aries, is going to be moving into the Taurus constellation. And so anytime a planet moves into a different constellation, it's like you moving into a different room, you driving to a different city. It's like you changing your mind and you're in a different sphere of thought, which produces a different sensation. So just be aware of the 7th, 8th, and 9th of June. You might feel a shift. And that shift isn't because the planet is doing something to you. It's because you are ready to do something different where Mars is concerned. So, okay, now let's group these again by elements. We're going to start with the fire signs. So Mars in Aries is a natural placement. Mars is the planet that guides Aries. So if you, in your chart, have a Mars in Aries, you're a starter. You're a self-starter. You're a let's go person. You're a leap before you look or see what's happening around you person. With a Mars in Aries, you're quick-witted. Of course, you have that quick temper as well, but you're quick to resolve or to let it go. So with the Mars in Aries, there's a lot of passion involved. There's, oh, I want to do this. And here's Aries right here. So this is Mars. And when Mars is in Aries, as it is right now until June 8th, when it moves into Taurus. So Mars in Aries is, okay, let's get it done. Let's get it done. But also there's a naivete with a person who has a Mars in Aries. And that can be very refreshing. You know, in a room full of cynics, a Mars in Aries personality can be someone who is just like, okay, let's lighten up. Who wants bagels? You know, it's just, you know, someone's trying to solve a problem and you come in and go, what's the problem? Oh, that's the problem. Hey, you know what? I have an idea. And so it's just spontaneous and very quick. So if you've got a Mars in Aries, and come and let me know where your Mars is located. Okay, so if you've got a Mars in Aries, your whole deal right now is momentum is your MO. It's what you love. Momentum, movement, let's go. Let's hey, there's something over there. Let's, you know, sometimes it can be squirrel because you're not focused. You're just moving. So take a breath if you've got a Mars in Aries. Okay. In the fire sign elements, we've got Mars in Leo, very magnanimous energy. So I'm going to switch over here. Here's Mars in Aries. Here's a Mars in Leo. And you'll notice that the fire signs trine one another. Anyway, that's a little astro tid. Mars in Leo is very magnanimous, a leader just from the get-go, thoughtful, always looking at, it's like a clipboard and a bullhorn and going, okay, we're going to group people by size or, you know, likes or dislikes. And so there's a whole exuberant leadership quality with someone who has a Mars in Leo. And it's like they are tireless. They roll up their sleeves, take a deep breath. Oh, okay, so we've been thwarted by weather or circumstance. Let's regroup. Who's hungry? You know, it's like there's always the energy moving out toward the other person or toward the group, and especially children, because Leo deals with education, entertainment. Sometimes Mars and Leo can be very dramatic, or, you know, dare I say melodramatic, but a fearless individual when, you know, because remember, Mars deals with momentum. So what is a Mars and Leo person doing? They are looking for the best possible, biggest opportunity next. Also entrepreneurial leadership qualities. Okay, so moving on to Sagittarius, Mars in Sagittarius. Come say hello to me. Let me know where your Mars is in your chart. Mars in Sagittarius, very optimistic. And the momentum of someone with a Mars in Sagittarius can lean toward curious, yes, or judgmental. And with a quick, and a judgment versus an evaluation. So they can be either one. Oh, Shelby has a Mars in Aries, which we're in right now. Go team, go, right? You're on it. So, but a Mars in Sagittarius is someone who is very, they're adventurous. And sometimes it's a different vibe than a Mars in Aries. But the Mars in Sagittarius is, I want to go do that thing because I think I can change their minds. I want to have some proof, and it can be scientific proof. It can be experiential proof. It can be, oh, you know, you get a phone call from a friend who has a Mars in Sagittarius and they say, I just tried this thing. Okay. It's a little bit of a startup fee, but I think you're going to love it. And so they're exuberant, they're optimistic, they're passionate, but they also have and they're determined to redirect you in some way, shape, or form. And so Mars in Sagittarius, they lean toward, they have to be entrepreneurial because they can't be sitting at one job at a desk. They look out the window, they see somebody riding some kind of bike or a vehicle, and they're like, what's that? And then they get up and leave their job to go explore. So if you've got a Mars in Sagittarius, you know, being a salesperson, being on the road, being someone who travels, being someone who, I know someone, and I don't know if she has a Mars in Sagittarius. I don't know her personally. I know of her. But what she does is really fascinating. She gets technology from all these industries and she beta tests them. So she'll hold up an object and say, okay, I spent 3 days with this new technology, and here's what it can do. Here are the pros and the cons. So that's the kind of energy behind a Mars in Sagittarius. This is kind of fun. All right, moving on from the fire signs, let's go right to the earth signs, because on June 8th, Mars is entering the constellation of Taurus. Okay, so Mars in Taurus, which is what we're coming up on. Very practical, steadfast. Of course, Taurus is someone who needs to plod and move and get excited about something and then figure it out. So a Mars, and here's Taurus. So a Mars in Taurus is a very productive person. They are object oriented. Oh, let's build something, whether it's a team, whether it's a house, whether it's a new kitchen window box for planting. I don't have Mars and Taurus, but I'm saying the Mars and Taurus person is saying we need to get busy being productive. And we have to do it in a very methodical way, because we can't shake up Mars and Taurus. If a Mars in Sagittarius came to a Mars in Taurus, it would kind of like, wait a minute, I have an agenda. I have things I have to get done today before I go jump out of an airplane with you. So a Mars in Taurus, their trouble comes with expressing emotions, because they want security. And so their momentum, their actions is toward building security. So if you have a Mars in Taurus, this is a really great time, because Mars is now entering Taurus. It's almost like having a Mars in Taurus return whenever Mars enters your sign, your Mars sign. So with Mars in Taurus coming up on June 8th through July 20th, for everyone, but especially for people with Mars in Taurus, get organized in a way that I think it was Eugene Schwartz, and I don't know if he was a marketer or a copywriter, but he came up with something called 3333, and that's setting a timer for 33 minutes undisturbed to get that thing at least started, to get momentum underway, cleaning out the closets, getting the bake sale stuff together, organizing your thoughts in your office. So you set a timer for 33 minutes. And when the timer goes off, take a break. You need to give your brain a break, because the Mars and Taurus person can go and go and go, and they have endurance, but then they don't realize that, ow, their body hurts, or they haven't eaten. Okay. So Mars and Taurus is very productive. And we're coming up on a very productive time, because I see so many people saying, that's it. I had to redecorate. I had to remodel. I had to hire new staff. It's like, I want to get organized. So Mars and Taurus is that vibe of really being practical, but in a goal-oriented way. Okay, now moving on to Mars in Virgo, a little bit different energy, although Virgo is an earth sign. I would say it's the least of the earth signs, if that's a thing, because it's guided by Mercury. And so if you have a Mars in Virgo, you're someone who is like, from the get-go, you are problem solving. How do we get this done? How do I organize this? And I need the right information. So I'm going to rely on you and you to get me these three things, and be careful if you don't, because the Mars in Virgo can be hypercritical or critical or silently judgmental. But at the same time, they sigh, because they're an earth sign, and say, all right, plot twist. Let's try a different approach. So they're able to problem solve and come up against whatever odds, and then pivot a lot more easily than, let's say, a Mars in Taurus. So because they like to go, Mars in Virgo likes to go trial and error, whether they realize it or not, because it's almost like a scientific experiment. Let's see if we bring these people together at the dinner party, if they'll get along. And here's what I can do to make them each happy. So they're already planning a diverse group of people. And then they already have something organized for them in case nobody's talking to one another, or in case they have a political argument. So it's like, oh, look, you like souffle. Look what I made. So a Mars and Virgo person, their momentum is very discerning. It's so critical on the negative end, discerning on the opposite end. Cool. Mars in Capricorn. Oh, Kate says she's got a Mars in Sag. We just went over that. I hope you heard. Okay, Mars in Capricorn, I would say personally, is the hardest and the most difficult of all the Mars energies in signs because they are unrelenting on themselves. It's always inward focus, like, oh, I didn't get that right. I better do it 14,000 times and get it right. Because what's at stake? That's what they're thinking. What's at stake? I will fail. I will disappoint. There's way too much responsibility in the mind of a person with a Mars in Capricorn. I don't like this Capricorn glyph. That's not the way it's supposed to look. I don't know who designed this, but that's my commentary. And a Mars in Capricorn would say that, although I don't have a Mars in Capricorn. Mars in Capricorn. Looking at my notes because I don't want to forget. Too many judgments. We need to move into evaluation. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. Different than the Mars in Virgo, in that it takes responsibility for everything that goes wrong that everyone else does or doesn't do. Lighten up, Mars in Capricorn, please. Your body is relying on you to have a momentum that is harmonized, balanced. More, I'll do a little bit of this. I'll get this job done. I am determined. Yes, I'm stoic, Mars in Capricorn. But now I need to go play. There has to be that give and take, to and fro. There has to be the ebb and flow for a Mars in Capricorn, or internally their momentum breeds arguments, dissension among the troops, car issues, but but as a friend, you call them up, they are there. They're there for you. Like a Mars in Taurus as well. I'd say most of the Mars signs are there for you, except, and I'll get to that. Stay tuned. Mars and some water signs. Huh? What? What planet am I on? Okay. So Mars and Capricorn, I would say, yeah, you're responsible, but remember this. My definition, and I'm a Capricorn rising, so I vibe with any Capricorn. My definition of responsibility is the ability to respond to your feelings first. Everything is energy, Mars in Capricorn person. So lighten up and go with the flow. Okay. Okay, so we just did the fire signs and the earth signs. Now let's go to the water signs. Why not? Mars in Cancer, which is the opposite of Mars in Capricorn. Very internal, very emotionally caring, and family oriented. Their movement, their momentum is toward the group or the idea of caring, even if the other person is not asking. But the thing, so it's like they give and they give, but they're not always being asked to give. And so then they withdraw into a place of either defense or just difficulty expressing their feelings or emotions. So if you've got a Mars in Capricorn, and my ear is ringing like crazy right now, so my phone is shut off. If you're trying to call me, you'll have to leave a message. Their sensitivity is heightened. And so sometimes they don't realize that they're taking on, the Mars in Cancer person doesn't realize that they're taking on the energy of the people around them, but then everything gets kind of jumbled emotionally. And so then they just don't talk, or they won't. You say to someone with a Mars in Cancer, hey, you stepped on my toes. I didn't appreciate it. Says the Mars in Aries or the Mars in Virgo. But the Mars in Cancer says, oh, well, I didn't, I'm sorry. And then you might not hear from them for a month. So the thing with Mars in Cancer is the momentum needs to be toward, excuse me, I would say a specific project where they can pour their care into it, because they're not always going to get what they want from people. So if you've got a Mars in Cancer, care about the thing you're working on. If you're an auto mechanic, if you're a car salesman, that's perfect for you, because you want to make the people happy who are buying the car, if you're fixing something. If you're someone who I knew someone who was a Cancer, and he had a Mars in Cancer, and he was also a baker, and he owned a bakery, but he attracted so much anger because he was not communicating, and he was holding it all in, and whatever you hold, you attract. So if you have trouble, Cancer is an energy that needs to move, that needs water, it needs walking, it needs hiking, exercise, biking, it needs to get the energy moving. So if you're frustrated, if you've got a Mars in Cancer and you're kind of frustrated about something, you may not figure out why, go take a walk. Bake something, write your feelings down. If you've got a Mars in Cancer, you may not be verbally communicative. It also depends on what else is going on in your chart, but you can express in different ways through dance, movement, motion, yoga, travel. So there's a lot of motion behind a Mars in Cancer in maintaining the equilibrium. So think on that as we move to a completely different vibe. Mars in Scorpio. Okay, Elvira comes to mind. Very sexy, very passionate, very intense, in your face, excuse me, and needing to know. Hello, hi, I've just met you. Why are your glasses crooked? Or, you would look better in purple than red. Think about it. So Mars in Scorpio, and where's Scorpio? Here it is. Mars in Scorpio is just very direct and then very passionate, but they're always watching. They're like the ultimate spy. Very deeply healing and sensual as well. But on the downside, they can be very manipulative. If they don't believe you or trust you, a Mars in Scorpio will go to work, and they will detect. They will search you out, search and destroy. So a Mars in Scorpio is very willful, but the healing that comes along with a Mars in Scorpio is, I think I know what will work financially for the company, and here we have to make some cuts. It's just necessary. And so they can come in and clean it up, whatever it is, and then let it go. But if a Mars and Scorpio person does not deal with their involvement or being objective, that's when they can become manipulative to just get their way. So that's when they become argumentative. But a Mars and Scorpio person is the ultimate, I would say, physical healer, psychologist, someone who can listen with many senses, not just their ears. And then they take an action, or they ask you or help you to take an action to solve the problem. So now a Mars in Pisces. Hello? I'm sorry. Hello, Mars in Pisces, Mars in Pisces. We are looking at becoming so involved in the spiritual world, the artistic world, the anything that moves. What was that? Did you see that? And it had a rainbow on it. So there's a lot of, and music, a person, where's Pisces? Right here. So Mars in Pisces is someone who can be easily disillusioned, or they just don't know how to stop giving. Their momentum is, let me help. What can I do? Let me just do it. Oh, you like citrus? And they go home and make you lemon pie, 12 of them, because you have company coming. So a Mars in Pisces is also someone who has vision. They're very imaginative. They're empathetic and their intuition sometimes crosses over into physical well-being. So it can make them sick. They're taking it on from other people. They're not clearing it out. Or it can strengthen them by grounding. If you've got a Mars in Pisces, ground in nature. Put your feet on the earth. Now, some people say put it on cement, but cement is treated. So you won't necessarily, unless you have a meter and you can plug it in and know if you are being grounded on cement. A park, grass, dig a circle in your backyard and get dirt right there. Put your feet on it. So Mars in Pisces needs to be grounded and not obsess, because they're a dreamer and they're metaphysical. But they also have difficulty setting boundaries or dealing with anger or deeper emotions, because they feel like if they feel the anger, they're going to put harm into the world. And so a Mars in Pisces can be very, just like its opposite, Mars in Virgo, can be very analytical in a sense of they can figure out the problem. They could be very scientific. They can study a course of something. It can be color therapy. It could be electrical engineering. It can be quantum physics, and really suddenly become like the crazy professor who they walk into a party and someone says, "Oh yeah, I had this backache." And then Mars and Pisces can go right to, really? It might be because your serotonin levels and you're not digesting, and or your colon is, it's like, is that party talk? I don't know. But then again, that's Mars and Pisces. Or they listen and they keep listening to see what's the bigger picture here. That's a Mars in Pisces. So it's important for a Mars in Pisces to have a creative outlet: writing, art, music, dance, sculpting, gardening, something where they can ground themselves in, like the metal palette. Mars represents metal. So if you're a sculptor, you're using metal. If you're a baker, cook, you're using knives, right? So it's anything that is metal can ground a Pisces, a Mars in Pisces, also the earth. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let me just check in. Hi. Oh, Ronnie says checking for a triple Aries who has a Mars in a Libra. Oh, we're getting to that now. We just covered the water signs, and now we're moving on to the, what did I miss? Air signs, right? We haven't forgotten you. Dear Mars in Gemini, the scroll of words, the constant information dump, the load of conversation, it can be mind-boggling. I knew someone with a Mars in Aries, a Mars in Gemini. Here's Gemini right here. And when she spoke, it was like a laser beam went right into my head with every sentence. There was no break in the action. There was no period on the sentence, which a Mars in Pisces can have, but a Mars in Gemini is just all mental energy. It's very intense. So, but you're quick-witted. If you've got a Mars in Gemini, you're quick-witted. You can be sarcastic, sardonic. You can be strategic. All the fun S words. I don't know. Candid, challenging. And challenging authority. So a Mars in Gemini will hear something and say, is that true? I'm going to go research that. I have some people I can call. I'll get back to you. And so the information is important to a Mars in Gemini, because then they can translate it into something that is grounding. Yeah, I just checked out 5G. Yeah, it is toxic. Okay, so here's what we could do. We could build a transformer that can block the waves, blah, 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 or we could vote, or we could campaign, or we could, so there's a lot of information being dispersed with a Mars in Gemini. And solutions. Mars in Gemini can also think about what's the best way to pollinate those zucchini I'm growing. So there's always the thought about how to fix something, how to make it better. And then the curiosity part comes in and wants to know more. But then if they don't understand, Mars in Gemini doesn't understand, they will challenge. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know what that means. How is that relevant to our conversation? So a Mars in Gemini motivation would be a motorcycle. Get up and go. new car every year, leasing cars. Mars in Gemini is better off leasing a car than owning one. For most, maybe not all. It depends on the rest of the chart, right? Okay, so next, Mars in Libra, also an air sign, but very different. So where are we now? Mars in Libra, very diplomatic. I understand. Attracts a lot of people who want help. So they need to learn how to set boundaries. Mars in Libra is somebody who is a pacifist, but that is when you hit a chord, and a person with a Mars in Libra, they are like, no, I'm going to Pride Week and I am wearing all the rainbows. I don't know anyone who's gay. I'm not gay, but they deserve a voice. So a Mars in Libra is looking to harmonize, and they're quicker to harmonize the needs of others than the self. So if you have a Mars in Libra, it's important that you have to, like, all the air signs, have a duality to them. Every sign has a duality, but especially a Mars in Libra, it's give, 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 and then collapse because they need to get. So you see what I'm saying? It's like there has to be the harmonious flow. What do I have in my notes? Harmonizes for others. Righteous. They can be very righteous, but are a pacifist. Isn't that contradictory? Well, a Mars in Libra can sound suddenly like, they don't like to wear black. And then one day they look in the closet and they go, all I have are purple, pink, and blue. I need some black in my wardrobe. I don't know why I ever said no. So they're adventurous in a way, but it's more, how do I articulate this? It's more about the self-evolution of, I'm going to try that now. But you said you didn't like the color black on you. Well, I changed my mind. That is a Mars in Libra is always looking again to harmonize others, and they're very creative. They need to be grounded because it is an air sign. They need to be grounded. And let's look at the opposite of Aries, of Libra, and it is Aries. So they need to take risks more and not be so upset about, what if this doesn't happen? What if I try that and it doesn't work? Again, for other people, they're like, come on, let's try it. Let's do it. I'll be right there holding your hand. But for themselves, they don't always take that or incorporate that shadow side, because it's like, I need harmony. I can't have it be ugly. I can't emotions. I hate that feeling. And by the time they get to that point, a Mars in Libra, they are already beyond their feelings. So they need to pay attention. So the momentum for a Mars in Libra needs to be not, there's only one way to do it, needs to be, I'm going to find a way that feels harmonious. I want to feel harmonious. Whether it's my actions or words, I want them to be harmonious. Okay, and then we move onto the last one. Did we cover them all already? Mars in Aquarius. Okay, I have to say, I would think Mars in Aquarius is one of the most out there energies. Again, they are an air sign. Here it is, Mars Aquarius. Hey, Lanier. Hi. Hello, everyone. They say experiential. They have to try it. They need to try it. There's those things called sky something. You get in a tube, and they have them at the malls in Phoenix. You get in a tube for 60 seconds. They strap you up, and you fly. They pump air into the tube, and you're tied to a tether, and you start flying. And then they let go of the tether, and you're flying in the air. That's the kind of Mars in Aquarius, adventurous, ambitious person. Their momentum is more toward innovative challenges. They have to solve the problem, and they will go into a very eccentric mode to do that. Now, some people with Mars in Aquarius in their chart have a lot of earth, if they have a lot of earth or water, they are more prone to just try an adventure. Let's go to a city we've never been. Let's try that new food we've never had. Let's go to Europe and research and look at all the architectural, magnificent buildings from the year 1042. They can be that specifically odd, but tamer. So a typical Mars in Aquarius needs technology, or they think they do, but they need currency. And currency is wind, water, electricity. So they are the person who is trying out that new thing as well. They are bored very easily. So if you have a child with a Mars in Aquarius, you got to mix it up, make it fun. Go, go, go. Let's try this. We do this, we do this, we do this. Now, well, let's do that. And they're like, whoa, you got a Surrey? Yeah, we're going to go pedal around the block. I rented it. Or we got a golf cart. Let's go try out a golf cart instead of a car or a bicycle. And so a Mars and Aquarius person really needs to be motivated, or they get bored easily. And that's when they challenge authority, all kinds of authority. No, they're at the airport. Someone says, you need to go through the air thing, where you put your arms up, and they go, no. I have studies on that. That is not healthy for the body. It's cancer forming. And they're like, sir, and TSA is just trying to do their job. It's like, ma'am, sir. And then all the people behind them are like, oh, we stood in line behind this person. And they're like, no, I'll take a pat. So they will challenge authority and they will be in your face about it. But also Mars in Aquarius has this innovative solution that is so spontaneous. They're just eating some sauerkraut at a deli and they overhear somebody talking. Mars and Aquarius will turn around and give them the formula for happiness. Burp, wipe their mouth, and then walk away. So Mars and Aquarius is a very highly technologically evolved being. But then again, it depends on the rest of the chart, or they have that potential. I mean, we all have that. We all have every potential, but I'm just being a little bit more granular and focused on where Mars is and your momentum. Now, let's take a deep breath. I hope this was helpful, folks, that we covered all the signs. And remember that Mars is entering the sign of Taurus on June 8th through July 20th. So this is a really good time to focus on where Taurus is in your chart, but also where do you feel insecure emotionally, financially, aesthetically pleasing wise, or depending on where it is in your chart. But you want to start getting a little bit more productive about, let's be practical, let's be productive. Let's make a checklist of things we need to fix in the house or the apartment, or I'm going to organize a committee and here's how I'd like to do it. I could use some help. So with Mars in Taurus in general, June 8th through July 20th, it's going to be a more of a practical time for people to enjoy getting organized. Where's your momentum? And if you have trouble expressing your emotions, this is where you need to involve some kind of physical exercise, whether it's jumping on a rebounder, walking across a golf course where there's, when they're closed, of course, and there's just all this greenery, or you take a hike, or you do an online workout class. There has to be a consistent form of release of bottled up emotions. And then you'll have flow, and flow equals abundance, and abundance translates into money and security. And that's what Taurus, the energy of Taurus wants. Also things that look and feel good and taste good. So, yay, we did it in record time. Okay, folks, thank you for being here. And let me just get rid of that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being. I will see everyone next week we're going to be, oh, I have it listed in Facebook. I forgot what we're talking about. But anyway, check out Facebook. If you're watching this in YouTube, thank you for being here. I will get to the timestamps in just a moment. Thanks, folks. Be well. As always, I wish you peace. I'll see you again.